From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Bozeman City Commission fills the number 2 slot at the commission. We'll tell you who that was coming up. Also, the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, or at least some members of it, moving to a new location. We'll tell you where and why in just a moment. Time it is 6:30. Meteorologist Matt Elwell joins me now as we continue through this morning. Air quality deteriorating just since we signed on 2 hours ago.
We've been talking about this possibility since Monday,
Yep.
how things were going to change, and here it is. We're looking at the air quality deteriorating very quickly, as Chet just mentioned. Moderate for Bozeman, Dillon, and West Yellowstone. Still good in Butte, but not great. It's getting worse as we're going through the day. Temperatures into the 30s and 40s for most areas. 21 this morning in West Yellowstone. Warm, windy, and hazy. That will be the name of the game for the day today. There are a few areas dealing with red flag warnings. We're going to break it all down for you, of course, coming up from the Billy and Auto Weather Patio in just a few minutes.
Right, thank you, Matt. 6:31 now. Bozeman City Commissioners unanimously approved Commissioner Terry Cunningham to become Bozeman's deputy mayor. That was at their meeting last night. Former Deputy Mayor Cindy Andrus became Bozeman's mayor after the former mayor Chris Mell resigned back in September. Mell's resignation also left a vacancy on the commission, also required the city to nominate a new deputy mayor. Cunningham said he's grateful for the support from the commission.
And I am honored and humbled. These are unique situations, and I am absolutely honored that my colleagues, Commissioner Pomeroy and Commissioner Wallner, would consider me to help lead the city that I love.
Now, Bozeman commissioners also began work on a new city growth plan. That document due to be acted on by the end of this month. Well, Gallatin County Sheriff says plans are in place now for a large portion of his department to move into a new building after the department bought out a shooting range in Four Corners. Zero indoor shooting range became listed as on sale for $5.5 million. Gallatin County Sheriff Brian Goodkin says working alongside county commissioners, the department was able to buy for $5.3 million. Sheriff adds the new facility will provide space for half of his patrol division, the coroner's office, new firing lanes, classrooms, and provide 4.5 acres to expand. Sheriff Goodkin says he recognizes it is a popular place.
Bittersweet. Bittersweet is the only way that I can, because I know that people love this place and they love to be able to use it. It's going to be private. They also understand how important it is, and they appreciate that. So that's huge. I mean, I think we have a good reputation with the people of this county, and they understand that we needed this.
New building will also allow space back at the Law and Justice Center for court staff after a portion of the sheriff's office moves into that new facility. Well, Montana Governor Steve Bullock beefing up the state unemployment insurance fund. At the Capitol yesterday, he said the state will be directing $200 million in CARES Act dollars to the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. Governor Bullock says the move is to prevent Montana businesses from experiencing an 85% spike in their tax rate. Governor also announced the state will begin publicly displaying COVID hospital capacity across the state. That begins today. The report will show bed capacity, number of ventilators, and ICU capacity. Yellowstone and Flathead counties reported the lion's share of new cases in the past month. Governor Bullock again affirmed his position on leaving stricter COVID mandates in the hand of local governments, saying it didn't make sense to implement restrictions for only a couple of counties at a time.
It's our actions as Montanans that have brought our total case count to over 16,000 and to nearly 200 deaths. It's our actions as Montanans that have stressed our hospital resources. And it's our actions as Montanans that can flatten the curve.
Governor Bullock also urged Congress and the president to find common ground and pass another COVID stimulus package to help financially strapped Americans. Well, some late report yesterday sent the state's COVID death toll to 204 people. One new fatality reported in Cascade County, 3 more deaths in Bighorn County. New COVID-19 cases in Montana continue to come in at daily highs. The latest state report, 733 new cases, but MTN News found that 200 of those cases had been reported earlier. Gallatin City County Health Department reporting 46 new cases, 10 people in local hospital. There are 7 new cases in Butte-Silver County. Health Department says there are 67 active cases in Butte. Beaverhead County reporting 17 new cases. Deer Lodge County, 13 new cases. Madison County showing 2 new cases in the latest report. Well, the need for mental health has been at an all-time high during this pandemic. With new routines, for a lot of people, it can be harder to recognize when you or a loved one suffering mentally. Bozeman Health offering free depression screenings today, which falls on National Depression Screening Day. Hospital has 2 ways people can be screened: by taking a brief survey online or stopping by one of several locations within the community. Anyone is encouraged to take the screening, even if you may not be showing symptoms of depression.
We will give you the actual screening. We'll score it while you're there, and if you have any questions, or if we think that maybe you might want to look a little further into how you're doing, we'll talk to you. We'll provide you educational materials and also tell you how you can seek help if you feel you need it.
Now, it's important to note there are no insurance or financial requirements for these screenings. The service completely free and open to the public. More information and a list of those locations can be found on our website. Well, how will you vote this election? No, not what candidate will you vote for, but will you vote by mail, in person? Our Joe St. George looks at what you'll need to do to make sure your vote gets counted.
Election day is getting closer, and every day Americans are deciding who they'll vote for, the manner in which they'll vote. Perhaps you are like Terrell in Detroit and plan on turning in your ballot as soon as possible.
You don't have to stand in line. Just come up and drop your ballot in the box, and you're on your way.
Or maybe you were like Ron, who we met blowing leaves outside his home recently. He's committed to voting in person on Election Day.
I'm going to go vote in person. I got the ballot, but I just don't know with the mail. I want to make sure my vote's going to count.
However you vote, the facts suggest if you vote by mail, you have to be more careful than voting in person. In 2016, 1% of mail-in ballots were rejected nationwide. Meanwhile, around 0.33% of in-person ballots were rejected. That's according to Dr. Daniel Smith at the University of Florida. What does that mean if you're voting by mail for the first time this year? Well, it means you've got to pay extra attention. Oftentimes, ballots are discarded simply because there's no signature. But remember, every day more Americans are voting. According to the Elections Project, as of this morning, at least 5.1 million Americans have already cast their ballot. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
6:37. Follow those instructions. That's going to be a big thing if you do choose to do it through the mail. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We say it every year. The stores start Christmas sales earlier than ever. This year, it really is true. After the break, find out how the pandemic is changing shopping habits. But first, here's Anthony Mason with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic nominee Kamala Harris sparred in a debate that was much calmer than the presidential face-off last week. The key moments and whether it will affect the election. Also, only on CBS This Morning, 2 former FBI agents are speaking out about the lack of diversity at the country's premier law enforcement agency, why they feel it's reached a crisis. And in our More Perfect Union series, meet a dream team of young volunteers making fresh produce and groceries accessible to those who need them most. All that coming up when we see you at 7.